look at the NFL. He joins us every week around this time. He also does the Bet the Gambit podcast. Kenny, how you doing? Graig Salerno's here. It's Cofield. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. And busy time of year. We got basketball, getting ready to kick off here real soon. Now it's November 1st.
I saw you this morning. I was watching some of the Bet the Gambit podcast, and you oftentimes you were lamenting not having time for all this stuff, which I totally appreciate the honesty. The other thing that was great is Graig and I have a habit on this show. We start rambling and going in directions. Kenny, you had a moment where you went from Boca Raton to Joey Fatone to Howard Schnellenberger to something about the field's not called Howard Schnellenberger. And I got to tell you, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I wanted to yell at the screen, like, Kenny, it's still named Howard Schnellenberger Field, and he was the first coach of FAU when they went Division I. Come on, bro. But you're like, you're doing that, and you're trying to look stuff up. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, I'm looking stuff up on the fly a lot because, I've given it a lot of thought. And my dad said, why don't you just do the show at 11 a.m. It'll give you 3 more hours to prepare, 4 hours to prepare. So I'm giving it some thought, but I like to be early as I can and get as much information out as I can because I'm always preaching, make your own numbers and bet early because that's the only way to beat the books. That's the best way to get the best possible number you can. You can't wait till the last minute. If you ever worked in a book, everybody's sitting up in the seats all day long. All day they're sitting there. Yep. And then 5 minutes before the game, they all rush to the window to try to make their bets.
Yep. And I worked in books, and that's the way it is. It's crazy. So some college football, some plays here. What do you want to do with Michigan State and Indiana? Indiana has been rolling, but is there some value on the Spartan side?
Yeah, they've been a great story all year. They are a great story, and Kurt Signetti really turned this team around. But Jonathan Smith's a great coach for Michigan State. This guy is a Chris Peterson protege. Was with Peterson for 16 years, 4 years at Boise, and then all 12 at Washington. Gets the job at Oregon State, and he turned Oregon State around. I feel like he's already turning Michigan State around. I think they've played much better. In the last 3 games, they've been even in the turnover battle. Childs, the quarterback's only thrown 1 INT in the last 3 games, where he threw 8 in the first 5 games. The team's just getting much, much better. Indiana, obviously, right now, this is a buy low, sell high spot. Before the year started, Michigan State would have been a favorite in this game. But Indiana should be the favorite here in this game, and I think they should, but I don't think they should be over a touchdown. I made Indiana 3. I'm taking the points with Michigan State.
Kenny, another game this weekend. We got Oklahoma State and Arizona State. What are you looking at there?
I like Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy. It's been a tough year for this football team, and I thought this team had enough talent because they returned everybody from last year that they had a chance to win the conference. And they started 3-0, but didn't play well in those games, really. They did go 2-1 ATS, but then they hit the skids. A tough loss to Utah. Got beat up bad by Kansas State. But the last 2 games, they should have won. BYU, they were winning the entire game and just lost at the end of the game. Baylor, Ollie Gordon fumbles at the 1-yard line going in, and then the next play, Baylor goes 99 yards for a touchdown. Really tough losses. But Mike Gundy's got an 18-year streak of going to a bowl game. They need 3 more wins. This is a big game for them. And again, buying low, because if you looked at the look-ahead line, and I don't know what it is, I'm guessing Oklahoma State had to be about 10 over Arizona State. Kenny Dillingham, youngest coach in college football, he went 3-9 last year. Nobody expected anything out of Arizona State. They've overperformed. They did early, but I tell you, I think they've come back down to earth just a little bit. I think Oklahoma State's still the better football team, even though the record doesn't say it. I like this team. They'll be motivated to get a W.
Talking to Kenny White, KennyWhiteSports.com. Iowa versus Wisconsin, another game this weekend. What are you looking at in that one?
Yeah, Kirk Ferentz is one of my favorite coaches, but so is Luke Fickell. And I've lost with Luke Fickell a couple times just last week, and sometimes I hate to get caught up in the crossfire here of betting on them and you lose and then you bet against them the next week. But it's just too much for me to pass up. We're laying 2.5 with Iowa here. I think the important factor is that Iowa's got two decent quarterbacks. Cade McNamara's had a shaky year, but his backup, Brandon Sullivan, who was a Northwestern transfer, played really well last week, and he's a dual threat. Now, Wisconsin played Penn State last week. When Aller went out, their second-string quarterback came in, and he's a dual threat guy, and he went right through Wisconsin. So I think the dual threat quarterback of Sullivan is a big possibility, having a big game for Iowa here in this one. Brandon Locke has filled in for Wisconsin for losing Tyler Van Pelt, but Locke is just an average average college quarterback, 7 touchdown passes, 6 INTs. Wisconsin is weak at the quarterback position, and that's why they lost last week to Penn State. So I like Iowa here, especially at home. Kirk Ferentz, 85-66 ATS in his home games.
Wow. Kenny White, KennyWhiteSports.com is with us. Bet the Gambit podcast up on Cofield and Company on a Friday as we're live here at Treasure Island. Penn State, Ohio State.
I'd be remiss, Steve, if we didn't mention Sports by the Book, the only father-daughter sports betting show, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the South Point Studio, Sports by the Book. Alex White and I. My daughter's been doing an amazing job of handicapping. She's taking over the family business.
I was going to say, we know her, and we've been touting the fact that she's kicking booty down in the Circa Invitational, number 2 in that 7-game-a-week contest.
Yeah, she's doing great. Really proud of her and how she's done it. She's doing it through her research and crunching numbers and adjusting power ratings and making her own lines. So she's doing a great job. Best game of the weekend, obviously, Ohio State, Penn State. We all know Ohio State and Ryan Day struggles versus top 5 teams. We all know James Franklin struggles against Ohio State. It's not trends that I don't follow. I don't ever really follow any of those type of trends. And I don't bet trends. I power rate my players. I get a power rating on the team. And again, as I taught Alex, you adjust that power rating from game to game, how that team played that game. So Drew Allar's playing. He's going to play. I knew he would play. And he's having a good year, 71% completions, 10 yards a pass, 12 touchdowns, 4 INTs. Will Howard's having a great year for Ohio State. And these are 2 great teams. Now, Ryan Day struggles against top 5 teams because they're top 5. They're really good football teams, obviously. And James Franklin has struggled against Ohio State because Ohio State has been better than Penn State the last 10 years. But this may be a different year, and every game's a snowflake, and I think Penn State is just as good as Ohio State. I think they should be the favorite in the game. So, yeah, go Nittany Lions.
Kenny White's with us. NFL time. Vikings and Colts. What are we doing?
You know, the Vikings was a team that I may have had well underrated to begin the year, and I have up their power rating. I now have them an average NFL football team. I really think that their schedule felt perfect for them early on, and it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And I think they caught a break of playing the 49ers the second week of the season, and they caught a break by playing Green Bay without Love at quarterback. So they're, again, an average NFL football team, and I think the Colts are pretty much the same thing, an average NFL football team. But they've played well lately, 4-2 straight up, 5-1 ATS the Colts are, and I like Flacco at quarterback much better. I had Flacco rated as the higher quarterback to begin the year. We know Anthony Richardson's a great athlete. He can run around like crazy, but he has no idea how to slide or stay away from contact. And he can throw the football 2 miles, but he has very little starting experience. He did not play a lot at Florida, and he has very little experience in the pros. You know, most guys, when they come to the pros, and if they do well, like a Brock Purdy, he started 50 games in college football. Richardson was nowhere near that. So I still think Flacco at this time right now, Flacco's a better quarterback. Next year, after a little more experience, Richardson will probably be the way better quarterback. But I'll take Flacco. I'm glad he's in the starting QB1 role. So let's go Colts. We'll take the points. The best thing about underdogs, there's 2 ways to win the game. They can win straight up or with the points.
Talking to Kenny White, you can catch him on Bet the Gambit podcast. This game's interesting to me. I think the Lions, you can make the case, even though they don't have the best record, they might be the best team in football, going against the Packers, divisional game. How you seeing that?
high scoring. This Lion offense is the real deal. And losing Aiden Hutchison, that hurts that defense a little bit. They lose their best player on defense. So, but they can score, and they can score plenty. And Love is just going to have to answer back every time the Lions score. I think it's going to be a game that does go back and forth. I don't have a play on the side, but I did play the game over the total.
Are we ready to back the Broncos in real games here? They're getting a big number, 9.5. They got a pretty good defense. I'm still unsure about Knicks. I think the Ravens have some warts, and I don't know if they're going to solve that pass defense. What do you want to do here? Ravens laying the points?
The Ravens have been my Achilles heel. I lost all my survivor selections because of the Ravens. And last week I bet them on the money line because I thought Cleveland was dead in the water, but Cleveland is rejuvenated without Deshaun Watson. I really didn't know how separated it was. I had a feeling it could have been that way. If you're the wife of a player on the Browns, she's telling you you're not hanging around him. So he probably didn't have any friends on that team. And now that he's gone, I guess, the bad karma is probably lifted as well. Kevin Stefanski did a good job of calling plays. So Baltimore, they've got a great team. They do. Lamar Jackson's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and they're very well coached. Harbaugh does a great job of finding players to fit his system that nobody else likes. He's got the best second string in the NFL. He's just got a great eye for talent. But this game, I'm right on the numbers, Steve. And Denver, I had rated very low at the beginning of the year. They're well coached. They do have a very good defense. Bo Nix has just scared me. And on the road, I think he could struggle against this defense.
Commanders and Giants. Jaden Daniels has been spectacular, but is he good enough as a rookie to be laying 4 on the road?
Yeah, why not? Laying more than a field goal on the road's been a huge profit maker all year long. And it's the thing I talk about is home field advantage is really almost gone in the NFL because of what I think is the coaches being able to keep their flag for a penalty that they disagree with and challenging that. So if they win the challenge, and this is Brian Blessing, you guys are at Oasis and a sponsor. When I hear Oasis, I think of Brian Blessing. God rest in peace. Brian was the best. And Brian hated it that you would challenge a call that was a horrible call in the field and you would lose the challenge. Flag. You're done with that challenge. You won the call. The call was reversed. Well, why don't you keep that challenge? Why can't you keep it? And the NFL finally changed that rule. So, home field advantage, all it is how loud the crowd can be to dictate calls by the officials in favor of the home team. And that's not a factor anymore because every bad call is now overturned by a challenge by the visiting coach. So there's really no home field. The Commanders are the far better team. Dabo's really struggled with the Giants. I think this could be a very easily win by the Commanders.
Hey guys, this is Danny Smythe from the Press Box. Jared and I will be hosting Throw the Flag from Golden Circle Sportsbook and Bar inside the TI. Come hang out with us every Saturday